Hey, welcome back to the Big Red Zone. We are very excited for today's show. Remember, new episodes come out every Thursday. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the like button on this video as well as all our other videos. You can also find us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Big Red Zone. And please tell a friend. This week, we'll talk about week 4 in the NFL. Break down some of the games. Patriots not looking too good for us. We'll also talk about the whole Tua debacle in Miami. Total fumble of the bag. Also, Celtics started game 1 of the preseason, so we'll talk a little bit of the Celtics. And as always, people's topic. All that and more on this week's episode of Big Red Zone. Welcome to the podcast. It's the Big Red Zone. I'm your host, Big Red. As always, I'm joined by Danny Football.
How you doing, Big Red?
Doing well. Almost had the match of the century of me versus Paige in tennis this weekend, but I'll take that one. You know, normally we say Paige ducks us, but I'm going to take that one all on my own. I had to back out.
Oh,
I take partial ownership of that. Partial ownership of the weather. The weather, bad weather this weekend. Hope everyone's doing it. It was last weekend. It was supposed to be last weekend. Yeah, like yesterday.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So the other day. So yeah, the rain didn't help. So I take a little responsibility for that. I did have something come up and I had to do it, but also it was raining, so I can't really take all the blame for that one. So it's all right. We'll get it in. She said, she wants to get this in before the end of the season, before the Big Red Zone season. So, to be continued. I'll take that one, Paige. Though it's not on you.
Negotiations are ongoing.
Not on you. How about you, Danny Football? I know you're happy about one big thing this weekend.
Big win. The boys of Lowell are back. The boys in blue are back. Hell of a big win to open the season this Saturday.
A tough one for the boys in maroon too. That's always a good sign.
BC?
No, UMass.
Oh,
other UMass.
Theirs was exhibition, so it doesn't.
It didn't count.
Doesn't count towards the record.
Oh, it doesn't count. That's fine.
Only the tough of the tough play actual games opening weekend.
I guess if you have the guts.
We weren't bringing in any filler teams or tomato cans. We were playing legit games out here.
Well, go Riverhawks. Good for the boys to get the first W. And it's always a good day when the boys win. The boys of winter win their first game.
Exactly.
So it was a big week in the NFL. Let's get into our first segment of the night, weekend recap.
It's the weekend recap.
So for weekend recap, we break down 3 games of the NFL week. Up first, we have the London game, Vikings versus the Saints. A little 9:30 action on the East Coast. If you're an Alvin Kamara owner, you probably didn't like this time situation. I know of a couple people that have gotten hit by the Alvin Kamara problem. I was up early. I checked the note, got the notification. First thing, I didn't even get out of bed. First notification I saw was Alvin Kamara was out. Got him right out of the lineup. But if you did, I'm sorry for you. I feel bad. It's one of those things. That's how fantasy football goes. But the good old London overseas game. How do we feel about these NFL games being overseas?
I completely forgot this was an overseas game. Luckily, didn't have Alvin Kamara in any of my lineups. It's. I understand why they're doing it. They're trying to grow the game, make it an international game. It's unfortunate from a fantasy perspective because I understand some people will, you had ample time. But if you're on the West Coast, this was a 6:00 in the morning kickoff. There's no chance you were even able to know that Alvin Kamara wasn't going to start. So it's unfortunate from that perspective, but I understand, it's a money-making opportunity. It's a league expansion opportunity. That's why they do it. And I know you're a big fantasy guy, but unfortunately, fantasy isn't going to move the needle for the old NFL. So it is what it is.
Hey, all I'm gonna say is the real fantasy owners don't sleep day football, even on the West Coast.
There it is.
Hey, I was up early in the morning because I knew it was gonna be a game time decision. I checked my phone right away, and if you did it, sometimes day football, you snooze, you lose. That's all I gotta say. But I get it. I totally understand. Like having a 9:30 game or a 6:30 game in the morning is not really good for the game and the brand that you have here. But I am actually a fan of having the overseas games. I think it's pretty cool. My buddy went to the game. I have a friend that lives in Wales. Shout out to Will, and tennis guy, big tennis guy, and he actually went to the game and he was sending me
Wow.
pictures and video called me in the morning and was showing me the stadium and stuff like that. It looked pretty cool. Said there was a lot of cool stuff there, and he's coming in November, so I'm gonna have to ask him all about it when he gets back to Mass and for a little visit. But yeah, I think it's a cool experience. As a player, I don't know if I'd like it because when you travel here, you only get a couple of days to acclimate to like the time difference, and get mentally like your body right for the game, like because you're gonna be like trying to, some of these guys are going to be jet lagged and are going to be playing when they should be sleeping. So, from that perspective, I kind of get it, but it's I think it's good for the game and a lot of American football fans over there. And when I first saw the game, I was like, man, not really the game you want to see, especially with the Saints missing Kamara, Winston, and Michael Thomas. But it was actually a really great game. I thought it was a fun game to watch, and they gave the fans their money's worth in overseas. Your boy, the Red Rocket,
He was
got
back.
the start.
Let's
He's
ride.
back. Is he starting over Andy Dalton? I mean, not starting over Jameis Winston in your eyes?
I don't think you can justify that, but I don't think you can justify that. But it was good. It was good to see. It was good to see the King out there doing his thing as always. Couldn't get the win, unfortunately. Comes down to a 61-yard field goal. Not much you can do about that. But looked good, played good. There's a reason he's still in the league. He's still a serviceable backup. But for the kind of situation the Saints are in, you got to think they're going to go with Winston once he's healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just kidding. Yeah, I mean, I thought he looked pretty good, and like you said, say it comes down to a 61-yard field goal that looked really good, and the Saints kept trying to do those. They kind of wasted time. I would have rather them do like a quick run play, get up and spike it with like 3 seconds left on the clock when they had I think it was 12 seconds. You get up, you try to get a couple more yards for Lutz, and it literally, if Lutz had one more yard, I think that was good. He doinked it. Like, I hate the people that say it's a double doink because he kicked a 61-yard field goal and it just barely missed. And he kicked a 60-yard field goal literally 5 minutes before that. But I think that was to tie it. I think that was to tie the game too. So I thought it was a great game though, back and forth. We had a nice punt fake by the Vikings. Vikings pulling out all the stops. Justin Jefferson got back to his normal production of 10 catches and 147 yards. I would have liked to see a little more out of Dalvin Cook, but even Justin Jefferson got a rushing touchdown too, which was kind of cool to see. But the Vikings, they're starting to get it rolling, 3-1. Saints fall to 1-3, which is not too good. Thought they'd be a little better this season, but overall, I think it was a great game in London and great representation of the league.
There we go. International game lives.
International game, and we got a couple more of them. I think the Packers are going to play next week, right?
I think so.
Something like that. I think. The Packers and Giants play next on Sunday at 9:30. So if you have Saquon, you got Aaron Jones. We know Rob has Aaron Jones. So Rob, if you're listening, check your lineups. You got Dobbs, you got Aaron Rodgers, and you got them in your lineup. Make sure you're paying attention to the ESPN or whatever site you're using to get those last minute injury report ready to go. What's our next game that we're going to talk about?
We're going Bills Ravens. I watched this one. Ravens really controlled this game for 3 quarters. Let the Bills back in. Ravens come down, 4th and goal. It's 20-20. They very easily could have just kicked the field goal to take the lead, and then I think the Bills would have had maybe under 2 minutes, maybe a little bit over 2 minutes to work with. But Harbaugh goes for it. They don't get the touchdown, turn the ball over, and the Bills go the length of the field, kill the clock, bring it all the way down to a field goal, and they walk off. They walk off the field with a 23-20 win. Um, that needless to say, the Bills pull this out, but again, they did not look great in that first half. So we saw it with the Dolphins. They do bleed. This is not a run away with the division or run away with the conference team. This team can lose, but they are finding ways to win. So I do have to give them credit there. My takeaway from the Ravens side of things was Lamar Jackson is, I think we say this every week, he's a cheat code. The dude's insane, but man, he had some bad throws. That Ravens team is good, but he has his situations where he kind of gets them into trouble. So in a question of, was this kind of a matchup of the AFC elite, or is this kind of just jockeying for position? Who knows? I mean, I know it's only 4 weeks down, but again, there really hasn't been that team to me that's kind of popped out.
I agree. I thought it was going to be the Bills, to be honest with you, but the Bills have shown like you said, they bleed. They are a very good football team, but they're not invincible. And I thought for the 3 quarters of this game, I thought that was going to show. I think the key things for me, as you mentioned it, Lamar made a few bad mistakes, but the offense, they scored 0 points in the second half. You're not going to win too many close, big games not scoring in the second half, especially with the Ravens. They're going to be battling to try to get that either the division or the wild card, and they're going to be expected to make a little push in the playoffs. They got to do something, and they can't put up 2 zeros. That can't happen, especially when your defense gets you a 10 and a 3. That's pretty good. Gives up 13 points in the half. That's not terrible. That's a pretty good day for the Ravens in the second half. The second thing, though, that I have to say is this is the second time the Ravens have blown a big double-digit lead in the second half. It's like that can't happen. So it's early. It's only October 3rd now. We're 4 weeks in. They're 2-2. They're right in it. Like you said, it's like a wide open race. There's no one
It's the
that's
field, dude. It's the field. There is no one else.
So, but they got to find a way to cut down on mistakes and not give up these big 19, 20-point leads. Like that can't happen if you want to be a successful football team. And one thing I do want to say that's a positive, a nice breakout game for J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins had a good game. We haven't really seen that from him this year, still coming off the ACL injury. And I mean, it was good to see him. He's doing what he does. He was getting involved in the passing game, getting involved in the rushing game. He finished with 13 carries, 41 yards and a touchdown, and also finished with 4 catches, 22 yards and a touchdown. So two touchdowns from him. So I mean, that if you're looking for positives for the Ravens, I mean, it's good to see your young stud running back kind of figure it out a little bit. On the Bills side, I mean, they looked at 23 points. I'm not too concerned with that. I mean, they got it done. They found a way to win, but I don't know. I'm not too. This game makes me feel a little bit better about the Bills if I'm another team in the AFC.
Right, 100%.
So let's move on to our boys, the boys in blue. Let's go to the Patriots Packers. I know I said I think we would be able to beat the Packers, but that was before I knew Mac was gonna sprain his ankle. I kind of felt worse about it. Going into it with Brian Hoyer, I didn't really feel that good. So I did say I thought the Packers would be an easier win, but I mean, if it's any test of having our boy Zap playing them for 3.5 quarters plus overtime, so technically 4 quarters, and them barely beating the Patriots, needing all of overtime to kick a field goal. I think it's safe to say if we had Mac, I think we would have beat this team pretty handily. But
I like to think so. It was good to see it was good to see the fight. It was good to see the rookie get in there and, go toe to toe. Would have liked to see them pull it out. I feel like the play calling was a little bit conservative, but I understand it's a rookie in there. You don't want to go all the way in on making a mistake, but man, it's just disappointing. It's disappointing that this season we were already struggling. Now we lose Mac for who knows how long. Fall to 1-3. Even though we just mentioned the Bills bleed, and we'll get to 2, I guess, but the Jets won yesterday too. So we're in last place despite the division kind of opening up for us, but it looks like right now we're in a hole. So if we can get out of it, great, but it's not looking great when you lose your starting quarterback.
out of our 3 games, we blew 2 of the 3 losses that we had. Like, the Packers game should be a win. That's got to be a win for your team. You get them in overtime. You have a good return on the punt. Like, you're right there. You have a great return, and like you said, 3 straight runs. Or what are we doing? The play calling is terrible. It's not even just conservative. Matt Patricia has been proven he cannot play call an offense. Matt Stafford had his worst years with Matt Patricia. The Lions got worse as an offense and an organization with Matt Patricia. He can't be in charge of the offense. It can't happen. It really can't. Or we're going to have more of this. He's just going to keep blowing games. I like what the rookie did. I mean, comes in and throws his first touchdown like it's nothing. It was a delay game. They missed it. Good. But, he gets his first touchdown in there. I thought he looked good. I think he looked like he was going to crap his pants when he first started when he first came out there. His first possession, he looked like a deer in the headlights. But after that, he settled in. He looked good. I thought that was fine. The 2 big things that I think is play calling, and we need every week. I tweeted out like clockwork. Miles Bryant makes 1 giant game-losing mistake, and he made 2 yesterday. It's like I'm over it. Like, I'll drive him to Logan if you don't have the time to have the car service working. I'll drive him to Logan to get him out of here, or better yet, just give him money for a flight somewhere else from Lambeau. He is terrible. He's not good. He's not a good corner. And I don't know how many blown coverages or pass breakups from your own team that would have been interceptions, or not breaking up passes that are the other team is catching. Like, I don't know how many times he's got to be exposed before, someone on the defensive side of the ball says, you know what, maybe we should go with someone else. I don't know. I think he's awful. He's terrible, and he's costing games.
No, the coaching is definitely handcuffing this team. It's like I said, it's disappointing. It's disappointing because this team made the playoffs last year despite it all. You lose Josh McDaniels, the Matt Patricia hire will forever just blow my mind. I don't know why he's doing this. I don't know why he's the OC right now. It's borderline embarrassing, but I mean, we're along for the ride. So hopefully we can put some wins despite it and turn this around. But I'm not confident with that guy playing, running around with the OC headset on.
Yeah, I mean, give it a Joe Judge. I mean, that guy's incompetent too, but at least maybe let's get a look from the other guy. You're 1-3 with this guy calling plays, and mainly it's because of your offense that you're losing games. So why don't we give someone else a chance with the headset? Because he can't do it. He can't. I'd rather go find a D4 high school coach to go call the offense for us right now. Like, it literally, I'll make some calls if you have to, because this guy is awful. He's terrible. You're right. It's not boring. It is embarrassing that we have this guy calling plays. It really is. He's awful. He cost us a Super Bowl because of his defensive calling, because he was a defensive genius, and we gave up the most points in a Super Bowl. Brady broke the record for most passing yards and touchdowns, maybe just passing yards, when we lost the Super Bowl. What does he do? He gets a head coaching job right after that because of a defensive genius, and then he pretty much torpedoes the Lions into oblivion, and Matt Stafford's career is pretty much, they thought to be over, then he gets out of there. But I don't know. I'm over Matt Patricia. I'm over the coaching. And that's going to be our downfall. I think there's nothing we could do because the play calling's awful. I think you're just keep losing good players because they're going to other teams. You're trading them away. You got the whole what's his name, the left tackle that you just benched from Marcus Cannon, who was your first round pick of a couple of years ago. I don't know. I don't feel too good about the Patriots. I said this team was going to be I think it should be a 10 or 9 win team or bust. I don't know. The only salvation that you have is the next 6 weeks is when you got to make your money. This is the time in the schedule that you have a chance to make a run. You got a tough Lions team, but you got the Jets. You got the, it was the part of the schedule that I thought we had: the Lions, the Bears, the Browns, the Jets, the Colts, the Jets, the Vikings. Like the next 6 weeks, when you play the Lions, the Browns, the Bears, the Jets twice, and the Colts, you got to win, at least go 5-1 in the next 6 weeks, and you want a chance. You don't like if we're not gonna make a run, then it doesn't matter. But you gotta go at least 5-1 in the next 6 weeks.
Nah, and that's a tall task. That's a tall task for this current roster and a tall task for this coaching staff.
Especially you're going to trot out, I assume, a rookie quarterback that was your third string less than a week ago. So I don't know. I don't feel too good about the Patriots. I'll ride or die. I'll believe in them. I'll support them. But this is like it's embarrassing. It really is embarrassing.
It is.
All right, let's move on to our next segment, picks of the week.
Picks of the week.
So for picks of the week, we pick one game from the upcoming NFL schedule. Last week we both got it right. I picked the Bills, and I think you picked
the Chiefs.
The Chiefs over the Bucks. The Chiefs controlled that game from the kickoff, literally from the kickoff. I was surprised. But 3-1 apiece. Who do you got for your pick of the week?
This pick of the week, I was gonna go Pats over Lions, but I got scared, so I went Chargers over Browns. I think Justin Herbert's gonna lead them past the Browns, who you're very down on.
I hope they lose every game, so I hope you're right. I hope you come out 4-1 next week. I'm gonna go with Bucks over Falcons. Bucks are looking for a bounce back week. They started 2-0, and then they lost the last 2 weeks. Falcons are down in the luck, but the Bucks look really bad. They do not look good. So Bucks can use a bounce back week. Hopefully they get back to the over 500 team. Words. Hopefully they get back to over 500. So going Bucks over Falcons.
Nice.
Waiver pickups of the week. I'm going to go with Corey Davis, rostered in 6.9% of leagues, has had double digits in 3 out of 4 weeks. He has also 2 touchdowns on the season, including last week. Corey Davis is always like that. He's an interesting fantasy player because he does get a lot of points, especially the last few years. He's a good flex guy. I think he has a nice solid floor of like double digits, and he has an even bigger ceiling. I think Zach Wilson likes him, and I remember last year he targeted him a lot. So I think you got to go with Corey Davis. He's out there. He's probably worth slapping on the roster, trying to see what you can do as maybe a flex spot, or just see how he does the next few weeks.
Nothing wrong with taking a literal waiver.
Literal waiver.
There you go. Waiver. I'm gonna go Josh Reynolds from your Detroit Lions. If St. Brown stays down, he's another option, and it all just depends, man. It all just depends on availability, and he's owned at 10.6, so he might just be a good stash. Is he going to start on your team over anyone? No, but if something opens up, worth tossing in.
Yeah, or if you're like me in one of my leagues and you're going to be 0-4 after this week, maybe he was going to start.
Just looking to shake up the locker room.
Shake it up, man. I started Matt Collins in one league last week. I said, you know what, we got to shake things up, and it was not a good call. Let's move on to. We weren't even going to talk about this, but I think we have to. The whole Tua debacle. So go back 2 weeks ago, a week from Sunday, actually. Wasn't even 2 weeks ago. A week from Sunday, gets that mammoth hit. It was all over the internet, and he gets up, stumbles to his feet, like he's like moving all around, can't get up. He comes out, is looked for a concussion. Then they come back and say, no, it was actually a back injury. It wasn't a concussion. It was a back injury. That was definitely a concussion. Shouldn't have come back in that game. Comes back in the game. Everything goes fine. Nothing happens that we know of. And then on a short week, they say, oh, yeah, just his back. He's fine. He's good to go for Thursday night. Thursday night football, he gets slammed. And then he's just out on the ground with his hands like spasm. Like, I don't even know what it's called, but it didn't look good. I think it's an embarrassment by the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins are pretty much an embarrassing organization, especially like in the last year for everything that's come out. And then you make the kid play after all the things we've had with like the advancements we've tried to make with concussion research and CTE and all that stuff. You trot this guy out there after 4 days after getting his clock cleaned. And what happens? He gets slammed because that's the kind of quarterback he is. And it's football. You get slammed. And there's no way he should have been back in that game on Sunday. And there's no way he should have played on Thursday. He's out this week under concussion protocol, obviously. But I just think this is a really bad look for the NFL. And it's definitely an embarrassing move by the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, I mean, I saw this happen and I literally thought the dude was dead. Like, I'm like, I thought he was dead. I thought the Dolphins just absolutely marched this guy to his early grave. I didn't even think he was going to play based on how he looked in the last game. So the fact that they trotted him out there, knowing full well that was a concussion, like, and it's early in the season, like, did you really need to put him out there?
No.
This isn't a win or go home or a playoff game or high stakes. It's week 4.
And it's a short week.
So it's a short week, week 4. You trot the guy out there on a bogus back injury call after the dude was damn near like Michael Jackson moonwalking.
Yeah.
He goes out there, takes another hit, damn near has a seizure in the middle of the field. I'm trying to remember who the San Francisco quarterback a couple of years ago that did the same thing. But regardless, it was horrific to watch. And they come out and, oh, well, you know, he was cleared. He was good to go. No, you cannot tell me that dude was good to go. That is insane. No. That is borderline, like, dangerous. It is dangerous. It's borderline, you know, you're lying. You're just lying. That's insane. The dude's health is now completely in question. I don't want to see him for the rest of the season. And that's not as a Patriots fan talking. This is from like I don't want to see this guy die on the field. So 2 concussions within a week, very clearly had a traumatic reaction to the second one. I don't know how you possibly play him again. I don't know if you can.
No, and like you said, it's not coming from a Patriots fan. If the Patriots lost every game and they didn't play Tua, I don't think I'd care. I'm thinking of it like as a player health and a human being's health. There was no way that guy should be playing anytime soon. He near died on the I don't think people realize how serious that was. He was having a traumatic reaction to that hit. And I'm sorry, a football game is not as important as someone's life or like
as quote unquote seriously as we take it. The last thing I want is to flip on a football game and be like, oh, they're literally dragging the corpse of Tua off the field.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and especially like he's had it doesn't. It's sad to see because he had such a great start to the year, but even if it's like third string, never plays quarterback, if he gets a concussion, it's his life and it's his, his quality of life after football that really matters. Like it's embarrassing that he played in that game, to be honest with you. And I'm really upset, and they should be ashamed of themselves, and everyone should. I mean, they started firing the medical, neurological doctor, but sorry, that training staff and that.
No, that's completely on the Dolphins staff. That's on the coach. That's borderline on every single one of them with a share of the responsibility. Like, if it's not the trainers, it's the coaching staff. If it's not the coaching staff, it's the ownership, whatever, is someone at some point surely had talked to him, seen the state he was in, and was like, we cannot put this man out there. And yet every single person apparently was okay with letting him go out there. That's borderline criminal.
Yeah. And I hope they're punished. I hope now they're on the Brown status. I hope they lose every game. I hope they are just bad, because that's embarrassing and that shouldn't happen. All right, let's move on to our final segment of the night, the people's topic.
It's the people's topic, baby! People's topic.
For people's topic, you can write on our Instagram and Twitter page at Big Red Zone. Leave us a comment, let us know what to talk about. First up, we got Jack, Pats this week, and Bailey Zapp. Good, like we already talked about it, but Bailey Zapp, great first game, and Pat's a little less great than Bailey Zapp right now.
I liked it. Showed some fight. I think people are very quick to make the Brady comparisons, as they do with every quarterback, it seems. So I'm not ready to call Bailey Zappi Tom Brady too, but hey, if the kid keeps playing good, I'm not gonna knock him down. So
yep, can't knock him down. This one comes from Will, my buddy Will from overseas. He said, talk about the last play of the game, the double doink for the Vikings game. I mean, I can't fault Will Lutz for that at all. I mean, he gave everything he had, and it looked really good. 1 yard was the difference, and can't fault him.
Andy Dalton
You got
of a win.
Robbed Andy Dalton of a little OT action. Brett Schaub says, got to talk about my boy Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett just announced today, starting quarterback.
Threw 3 interceptions, but still kept the Steelers in that game. I was pretty impressed. I was pretty impressed. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, Steelers are in a situation where Mitch Trubisky isn't really gonna. And the funny thing was, I think they were winning when Mitch Trubisky got taken out of the game. So, can't fault him. We got to go with your rookie. You just drafted him. He's the future of the franchise, Pittsburgh guy. Let him ride. George Pickens' draft stock is rising, so be ready for that. He had a great game this week. Also, we didn't get to talk about it, so I just want to Big Red as a people's topic. A little Celtics news. Are you happy about the Blake Griffin signing and about how big blowout win for game 1?
I'm a big fan of both. Blake Griffin, I think, adds a good insurance policy for Rob being out for 8 to 12 weeks. I think once Rob's back, Griffin kind of just settles into that veteran minutes here, minutes there role. But in the meantime, anything he can kind of provide will be great. And in terms of the win over the Hornets, I know it's the first preseason game, but I'm feeling pretty good about my idea of, you put Coach X in there and we'll be just fine.
Yeah. And I mean, the minutes were spread so far down the bench. It's like even the bench guys were doing good.
Exactly.
I liked Blake. I said last week on the pod, actually, I said we were talking about who they're going to add. I said I'd like to see them add a veteran big. If they don't add Jay Crowder, which still young, the jury's still out. I don't know if they're going to add him. But I wanted them to add a big when Rob was out, because we really didn't have any depth at that position. Blake is perfect. He adds a little. He's looking to regenerate his career. He's trying to get back into it. He wants to be on a championship contending team, and he adds some size, veteran leadership on our team. I like it. I think it's a win-win-win signing, and I'm very happy with it. This one comes from Lauren. Lauren, can you add Lauren's wedding day? Thanks. I'm going to Lauren's wedding. Family friend, Mrs.
You
Big
are
Reds.
just making the rounds.
I'm making the wedding
It is
rounds.
wedding season. My
wedding
God.
This is 5 for me this year. Mrs. Big Red's this will be her 4th.
Oh,
she was in too. Going down the Cape for a little wedding. So shout out to Lauren.
Wow.
For her wedding on Saturday. I hope it's a beautiful day down the Cape and in Sandwich. So I'm looking forward to it.
There we go. Big Red on the wedding tour right now.
I'm on the wedding tour. This is the last one. Got a new suit, Dave Football.
I saw it. Sharp Navy. Gotta love that.
Gotta love the Navy suit. It's gonna be. I told Mr. Big Red told me I can't wear the same suit.
Oh, dude, run that back. Come on.
No. So I had to go get new dress clothes, and I told Mrs. Big Red, I said, "Listen, I'm going to be wearing this the next 10 weddings for how expensive
Run
it
it.
was.
Run it.
It's going to
Run
be
it.
there. Don't worry,
it.
it's going to be on next week."
Staple.
The guy told me who sold me the tie. He said, "What tie do you want?" And he said, "We got to make it a little fun." So he said, "This one's blue because I wanted a blue tie, but it has a conversation piece." So it was a nice conversation
There we
piece for the
go.
wedding. Had a little nice design. Some shamrocks, Danny football. Shamrocks. Go Seas.
Go Seas.
Last one, of course, goes to our boy Joseph_Celia. He writes, "Who is the athlete that is all hype but little to zero production?" He gave his, but I'm interested to see what you say.
All hype but zero production.
Yeah.
Oof. Man, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. All hype but zero production. I feel like I want to go with I keep
I have one, but I
go
want to
ahead.
hear
You
yours.
go. You go.
I got to go with Zion.
Oof.
This guy was supposed to be the best player in the NBA year one, and I mean part of it's injuries. I get it. Part of it is he liked to have some Krispy Kreme donuts, but it's like we're going into year 4 now.
Yeah. No, this is his third, isn't it? I don't know.
Year 3, I don't know, but the kid's done nothing in this league. He looks really good in preseason. Like I've seen pictures of him. It looks like he's in shape, ready to go. But honestly, dude, I can name him. He was supposed to be a top 10 player by now, and I can name about 50 players I want over Zion on my team.
Yeah.
So I have to go Zion.
I want to
But
go.
that could change this year.
Right. I want to go Ben Simmons. To
Oh
this
my
day,
God, yes.
To this day, people, loft him as one of the all-time greats, and I just don't see it. Maybe it's just me, but I just don't see it. But I'll also toss Tim Tebow in there.
Yeah, he was very hyped, but he was like a quick one-hit wonder kind of thing. Like
right.
I think he was hyped up because he led that charge in that like playoff run.
Loaded Florida Gators team too.
Yeah, and the Florida Gators. I was talking about like that one
Murderers
Broncos
Row
run. Yeah. So literally,
Yeah.
it was he said his pick was Baker Mayfield. I'm still in on Baker Mayfield. I don't think you can say all hype. No, he has had like 4 different head coaches in like the 5 years he's played. He was on the Cleveland Browns and brought them to a playoff spot like that. I don't know.
I think leading the Browns to a playoff win is about the ceiling you're going to get if you're drafted by the Cleveland Browns. That's about as well as you can do with the hand you've been dealt.
Right. I normally agree with Joseph_Celia, but I have to stick up for my man Baker Mayfield. But thank you for all the people's topics. Remember, you can run it on our Instagram and Twitter page at Big Red Zone. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you want to talk about. Also, you can follow us on TikTok at Big Red Zone. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to subscribe, and please tell a friend. Thank you to Danny Football, as always, for joining this week. Have a great week, everyone.